Hello, everyone. We are the Vinyl Community Gunkles. No album review today or look back at a certain year. Today, we're just talking about records and CDs. It's a topic that gets discussed a lot. One versus the other. Which do you prefer? Do you have both? Do you only have one? Are you going maybe back to one? Are you rethinking things? Or how is it going? So we thought we'd check in with each of us and see how we're doing with all of that. We are the Vinyl Community Gunkles. I'm Robert Fithen, along with Craig from Craig's Vinyl Plethora, Mike from Hubtunes, and ladies and gentlemen, the guy who's really, really into vinyl. And he also likes records, Richard from Calvin Wazoo.
Oh,
Ooh, scandalous.
Rubberman.
So recently, I have been on my channel. I've been listening to nothing but, and a lot, hundreds of albums from 1991 and 1992. And by albums, I mean mostly CDs. Because in my personal collection, I don't have a lot of vinyl records from the 90s. I just have never really gotten into that. They don't really do anything for me when they're from the 90s. In my mind, a lot of 90s stuff was made for CD with the CD in mind. It's designed that way. The running time is that way. The booklet is that way and everything. And I really don't like reissues of 90s CDs, basically, with the artwork all blown up and everything. I mean, I do have a few original 90s stuff on albums, on records, like Nirvana's Nevermind. I have an original of that. Soundgarden Super Unknown. I've got Tool stuff that's original 90s, but I got all that stuff as promotional items back in the 90s for free. So I've just kept those all these years. But my records are from the record era, like, from the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. And then I started buying records again a few years ago, so they're current releases too. But all my 90s stuff is on CD for the most part. So all these things I've been listening to for this big long video series I've been doing, I've been really getting back into listening to CDs. And it's really made me fall in love with the CD again. I haven't heard CDs. I haven't bought a CD in probably 8 years or more. And so I've gotten back into it, and it's made me fall in love with the CD again. And with the new year and the way that some things have been going with my record buying experience, it's really made me think, do I want to start, stepping away from vinyl and getting back into CDs again? And so far, I've pretty much kind of done that. Some things that I've experienced recently with records. I just got a box set with the Saints, 4 records. Got it, loved it, $130, something like that, $140. Every record worked.
Oh, no.
And it was just kind of like, that was the lock.
Yeah.
That was the lock on the box. It's
Man.
I think I'm done with this for a while. All these worries about different record type things. It reminds me of that Tool song called Enema, where he's like, fret for your hairpiece and fret for your tattoos and fret for your latte. That's coming up in my mind thinking of records, like fret for your stylus and fret for your cartridge and fret for inner groove noise and fret for outer groove noise and fret for is it warped and fret for the pressing and fret for the pressing plan and fret for the issue and fret for the center groove. It's at center or line. And fret for is when you get it and it's a brand new thing and it's got smudges all over it. I mean, it was so nice to get a CD out, not have to worry about whether my stylus is aligned properly, whether I need to replace it, whether I need this or that, or what. Just put it on, push play, and you're just enjoying the music.
And you just described why CDs became so popular when they came out in the late
The first
80s.
time around.
Right,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we all thought when we first bought whatever Dark Side of the Moon, or
Right.
I think my first was Welcome to the Machine. I
know.
yeah.
Mine was Bryan Adams, Cuts Like a Knife.
Huh?
Because I didn't have any money, and that was the only one. I think it was maybe used or something. This was like, there were no used CDs, and there were only like 2 used CDs in the store, and they were at the counter under glass as used, and they were $5.99 each. And I'm like, that's all I can afford. And so I got Bryan Adams. I don't remember what the other one was, but I got Bryan Adams Cuts Like a Knife was my first CD.
Wow.
I can't remember the first CD I bought, but I remember taking all my records at the time,
Oh, I remember.
going to a shop and saying, "Give me credit for CDs." So, that's because I got tired of lugging around my record collection. It was, but I came back to vinyl. I get what you're saying.
Didn't we all,
Robert?
I mean,
There's plenty of times where you spend money on a vinyl record, and I guess they call it stitching, where you'll hear this, and there's not a single blemish at all on the record, but it's a pressing flaw, and it's definitely the quality control in a lot of modern pressing plants is really
not good,
awful. But I've never really abandoned CDs. I still buy them. I mean, there are certain types of releases I will only get on CD, or I will lean towards the CD versus vinyl. Like Grateful Dead live sets, I would much prefer to get the CD release of that, not a 6 or 7 or 10 record release of a show. Because I don't want to get up
another thing too. When they try to take a CD from the 90s that's like 55 minutes long or whatever, or 50 minutes, it's too long for one record. It's not really a double record, so you end up with like 10 minutes on each side of the record, and you got to keep turning it. Or they've got some audiophile thing where it's a 45 RPM thing, so you got to keep turning. Now a single record is suddenly a double record with 10 minutes on each side.
That's what happened with Frank Zappa's Uncle Meat CD release. That the album was, I think, something like 1 minute longer than what a CD could handle, because it's a double album. So he put on this extra shit of this dialogue from the movie Uncle Meat that never got produced, that is just a waste of space. It's just so that he could release it on CD.
This woman keeps saying measure it with a chicken neck or something like that.
That whole dialogue set, it's just, it goes on.
Never done that.
But the nice thing about the CD is you can go skip.
That's why I prefer the Velvet Underground and Nico on CD, because you can just skip right over the Nico songs.
Nico songs are good.
One thing I love about vinyl records is they kind of force you to listen to the entire record and you hear the whole.
That's what I love about it.
That's what I love.
But some of them, like that Velvet Underground with Nico, it's just like, no, I'm not interested in hearing the whole damn thing. I get what it sounds like. I've heard it before. No. CD.
Classical music too, I think a lot of times is better on CD because they actually recorded it for CD. Because there's nothing more annoying with an orchestral piece in a quiet, and even if it's just a slight pop, it's just so annoying.
Well, you know why CDs, talk about CD length, you know why CDs started off 74 minutes long is because that's how long Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is. And the people that designed the first CD wanted to make sure that Beethoven's Ninth Symphony would fit on
that
on disc.
It's amazing how things drive certain things in technology.
I mean, when CDs first came out, yes, I jumped on it. But I never sold records. I never got rid of my records. I stopped buying records in the late 80s, early 90s, most of the 90s, obviously. And so, I did buy CDs, but I didn't buy a lot of CDs. And I've said it before, I'm not big into 90s music. I don't think at my CD peak, I probably only had maybe 200, maybe 300 CDs. And I sold them, when we started burning CDs and handing them to each other and making, I got rid of all my CDs.
Oh, I did that a lot. Go to the library, check out some CDs, and then burn them at home.
I was at the library all the time. I sold all my CDs immediately. And I never had a purge. I never got rid of my vinyl. My mother threw out some records when I went to college, which I'm still furious about. Oh, she threw out about probably about 300 records. She brought them to the Goodwill. You don't need these. Yeah, she didn't even ask. She was just like, "Yep, you don't need them. You got CDs." Because I was away at college. I was gone. I was gone, you know, and she was just like, "Well, I need that room. I got a sewing room now." And yes, those records went to the Goodwill, and there was some great shit in there, but only about 300, you know. And I've constantly bought CD or LPs, you know, vinyl. I never stopped buying vinyl. Did I go more towards CDs for a long time? Absolutely. But I was always buying vinyl. I mean, I have a CD player now. I don't think it's hooked up. I don't own any. I think I have like 4 or 5 CDs in the closet here that I just never listen to. They're not even out. They're in a box. I don't listen to CDs at all.
I never stopped buying records either. My whole thing was I would get the main stuff in the 90s. I would get the main stuff on CDs. You know, the classic albums, the newer ones I would get for free. Some of the classic ones I'd get for free through the radio station. But I was always going to record shows. But my thing was with records at that time, I was buying like the $1 and $2 records and looking for like the old classic rock stuff that was never on CD or was hard to find on CD and buying a lot of that stuff. But I never paid like, you know, I was never buying like $15, $20 records. I would always buy like the $1 ones. Or
those
whatever.
Early CD releases of like 60s and 70s, you know, were terrible because they were just like ripping off the from the vinyl and burning it onto a CD.
Well, and they were using like 4th generation tapes, and they were so mass produced and whatever. That's the thing with the CD. People say CDs sound terrible. Well, you have to know what. It's like records. You have to know what you're buying. You can't just grab a CD and, you know, some of them do sound horrible.
I used to have a beautiful collection of like I guess it was Mobile Fidelity, the original master recordings, the CDs that were on gold. They were gold CDs, and you open them up, and it kind of lifted up the CD, and you pick it up. I had about 25 or 30 of those things.
Oh wow, because those are still collectible.
Are they? Well,
what about those? I have a Pink Floyd
sold them many years ago for $1.50,
and it's just like they're very bass heavy. A lot of bass.
Yeah, a lot of them are, because those early MoFi recordings, they're all very bass heavy.
Yeah.
I did try and buy the vinyl releases of some 90s. So, I mean, because I had like Jesus Jones and Blues Traveler in particular, and I found some vinyl releases of them. And when I got them and listened to vinyls, just absolutely sucks. It's just terrible. So,
I find that
those items from the 90s, early 90s in particular, it definitely.
It's got to be an album that really resonates with me for me to pick it up on vinyl. And
Maggot Brain, I guess, still the best one. The best thing you can get is the original CD, because they never did a really decent. I mean, I have a kind of a decent pressing. It's a Westland pressing on vinyl, a newer one from like 2015. It sounds pretty good, but you know, listen, Patrick talks about it all the time. The vinyl archivist. You know, that you want Maggot Brain, you want to get the CD.
Well,
yeah, some
I
things
don't
you
want it.
Some things you want the record. Right. You know, it's a case by case basis.
I don't want it.
Yeah, a lot of it is case by case.
I still, you know, want to hear certain 70s bands. You know, I definitely want to hear the record. You know, I want to hear Jim Croce on a record. I want to, you know, stuff like that. I want to hear the Beatles on records. You know, I want to hear. But I want to hear, I mean, even though I have a first pressing of it, I want to hear Nirvana on a CD. You know, I want to hear, you know, the 90s stuff on CDs.
Yeah.
But it was just so nice to.
I just want to hear everything on vinyl.
Why?
Just because well, you mentioned how listening to the whole thing, I'm not going to listen to a CD all the way through. I'm going to skip it. But a record, I have to listen to it. And so I like it when my 90s albums are reissued because that's the format that I love. CDs are fine. I like everybody else. I had CDs. I think probably at one point I had like probably up to 4,000.
Oh my God.
What
Yeah,
made you get rid of all of them?
I started collecting vinyl again.
But why did you get rid of the CDs?
Because it took up way too much. I had way too. Whenever I moved,
That's
it
a
was
lot.
boxes and boxes and boxes. I already had boxes and boxes and boxes of records, and so between the two, I'm gonna get rid of my CDs over my records. They're a little more important to me. I have maybe 60 CDs left, and it's because they're not on vinyl, or you can't stream them, or certain things like that. I have a few right here, or ones that I just really want to be released on vinyl. That happens too. Like this.
Well, Sheryl Crow's first album, you can only get that on CD.
Is that George Michael?
Yeah, it's his songs of the last century. But I've kept this because this is pretty much the only way. I don't know if you can stream this one. I don't think you can, but this is the only way. But I don't even have a CD player. I mean, I have one in my car, but Sheryl Crow's first album is on vinyl.
It just came out on vinyl.
Yeah,
they reissued
it? For a long time
it was last year. It was last year. Because I have it. But and like this is an album that I know it was never released on vinyl, but this is something that I want. But I keep the CD because I can't get it anywhere else. So
no, that makes sense.
Dolly Slow Dancing with the Moon, in case anybody's wondering. But
featuring Romeo.
Yeah, from 1992. That better not be the one you destroy.
No, I don't do. I'm not doing country albums on those rankings because that would be a whole other.
But I mean, that's a few. I mean, like Blake Babies. I would love to see God Bless the Blake Babies on vinyl.
That's not on vinyl.
No, this one was not. This is.
What about an unofficial vinyl? Would you rather have an unofficial vinyl that's mastered from probably a CD or a CD?
It depends on how well it is, because I have some of those.
We all probably have some of them.
Yeah, I do. Well, some of them I bought and didn't know, because you'll buy it at a record store and it doesn't tell you it's a bootleg.
Oh,
because
I have a few.
Well, not all of them are bootlegs. I mean, a lot of music on vinyl, are remastered recordings from CD, but they do such a really good job.
Well, no, we're talking more of the ones that weren't like official releases. Like,
the bootlegs.
But I didn't realize it because like
like Dole and shit like that.
Yeah, because I like Rush Test for Echo.
I have an unofficial.
No,
why would you buy that? I mean, it's just a CD put on two big records, and that's not even an official thing. They don't have the original tapes. I'm not. The cover art is all blurry and everything. Somebody did this in their own little private studio or whatever.
It just depends on how. Like, I've gotten some of those that sound really awful, and some that sound pretty decent. No worse than the CD. So and I don't mind that because I mean, I have some like Cure releases like that they was never put on vinyl, but it's the Cure. So but like my Beck Mellow Gold, I didn't know I was buying an unofficial release of it. I just saw it and was like, wow, you never see this.
Right.
And it was a cool colored thing, and it doesn't sound terrible, but it probably could, if it was remastered and all of that, it was probably could sound better. And actually my whole Live Through This, same thing. I did not know that I got an unofficial release. I bought them both from record stores thinking, because a lot of the times with those, like at the Kansas City at Josie's, was it Josie's? No, it was the other place. I can't remember the name of it. Seventh Heaven. They had them listed as imports.
Right, I've been to Seventh Heaven. Yeah. You took me there.
I did take you there.
Looks like a strip club on the outside.
Yeah, and then we can buy all our stuff to smoke weed there.
Yes, and
our incense.
I bought a T-shirt there, and I got I went to pack it to get it on the plane, and it smelled like incense. And I was like, I'm never gonna get through it. It was awful. It probably still smells like incense.
These are two bootlegs that this one sounds great. This one sounds like shit.
Yeah.
But are they bootleg albums that don't exist anywhere else, or are they just bootlegs of CDs?
Right. These are bootleg. Yeah, these are bootleg albums of
Yeah,
that
there's
don't
a difference.
exist
Yeah, no,
at
there's
all.
there's
that's a
difference.
different kind
I
of
mean, because
bootleg.
I just
Yeah.
got like a George Michael concert thing that was not officially released.
Yeah,
and
that's a different thing.
it
I've got
sounds like
Rolling Stones
garbage.
stuff like that.
And
I'm
getting
talking
it,
about
you
when
probably know
when
it's
the
going to
album
sound like
comes
garbage.
out, it's not on vinyl, and somebody has just literally taken a CD of the album and put it on vinyl.
Yeah.
But
Or
it's interesting you
just
brought
done
up
a
The
needle
Cure.
drop.
I've seen comparisons. So there's a couple of videos online where people are talking about The Cure's new album and how the CD blows the record away.
I'm sure.
You know, and it's like that's just another one of those things. Seeing those things and hearing those things, it's just like, man, I'm really rethinking the whole, like, you know, going all in on vinyl like I have been doing in the last 8 or 9 years or whatever, and just totally abandoning CDs.
Well, the price of records has just gotten so crazy that
absolutely.
you know, if there's a record that comes up that I would really like to get, I'm shopping the CD bin first.
Yep.
Because I look for the prices and it's just ridiculous for.
And if you're going to have better sound quality, I mean,
yeah,
obviously you're going to get the CD over a record that sounds worse.
It's so difficult. I mean, sound is important to me. I don't want to be like sound like this guy that I want it to sound like shit, because I don't. I want it to sound good, but there's just something for me holding this does absolutely it does absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah, same here.
I have to squint my eyes to read the shit. Like
well, to be fair,
I mean, and actually there's records too that I have to squint my eyes to read the shit.
But one of those.
But you know,
last time I was buying CDs, I didn't have to wear glasses. No, I do.
Yeah.
As we all sit here wearing.
I mean,
I feel like that about the difference between CDs and streaming. You know, it's like there's something about holding a CD that you're not and looking at the booklet and everything that you don't.
Streaming is just
streaming is like what I do when I want to sample, when I want to get an idea of what something sounds like.
Yeah.
You know,
and streaming is great.
Streaming is a convenience.
Yeah.
I stream everything now before I buy it.
But Richard was talking about price, and one of the things that I've been doing lately since I started my 90s thing is started listening to CDs again and looking at my collection and going, oh, I actually don't have this. I would love to have that CD. Oh, I don't have this one either. I've been going to antique malls for the first time in like 8 or 9 years and looking at CDs. And it reminds me of the 90s looking at records.
Yeah.
Because you never knew what you were going to get. A lot of great stuff was $1, $2, $3. And it was like crate digging type stuff, which you can't do anymore. Now you're crate digging and everything is $5, $10. You go to an antique mall, you're seeing Barry Manilow records for $25 and shit like that. It's like, what the hell is going on? No one is buying Andy Williams albums for $15. What is this? And they're all beat up and everything. But you walk over and there's CDs, $2 a piece. There's Erasure in there. There's Pink Floyd in there. There's Morrissey. I'm using Morrissey and Erasure because I literally bought those because I didn't have those. I mean, I have all the Pink Floyd. I definitely don't need that. But there's all the Tori Amos in there. All these 90s things where if you were going to buy the record of that, it would not be $2. And it's so great to get back to the kind of crate digging thing where it's just like, don't care about those. Those are all $2 each, whatever. And you're like, oh my God. The same thing I used to do with records in the 90s.
See,
where people didn't care about records. It was like, yeah, whatever. Those records are $1 a piece. Oh, here's Steve Miller Band. Here's Grateful Dead. Here's Pink Floyd, you know.
It's been
really fun.
Yeah, I'm not a crate digger.
I love it.
I mean, I wasn't in, you know, well, I started collecting records again in 99, but early 2000s, Yeah, I mean, but the
Yeah,
thing
I
is
did.
that I would go to record stores and find like good stuff for $3 or $4. I mean, a good portion of my collection I did not pay a lot of money for until obviously probably maybe the
But
last
you
10
can't
years.
do that anymore with
You
records.
can't.
You
It's
can't.
it's
Not
it's
out
a
there.
happy day if you find something.
It's a
Everybody's
lot of work.
grandmother knows what everything is worth now because they're going on Discogs, or they're
Yeah.
going on eBay and they're seeing
eBay.
what somebody is trying to sell it for, and they're going, "Oh, well,
And
that's the price."
Yeah, that's what it's worth. It's not.
Elvis Presley, you know, Burning Love Volume 2 for $55. It's like that's a $2 record. What are you
Mhm.
doing?
And eBay ruined a lot of that for, you know, because like I used to be, you know, my ex used to be into like pottery, and like I you know, I was into like jukeboxes and stuff like that, and we would go to flea markets and stuff all the time, and estate sales. And now with eBay, you know, and eBay's been around what, 25 years.
Right.
It's everyone knows
I've
what
had
they
my
have.
account since '98,
There's
so
nobody out there who doesn't know what they have. Everyone
Right.
knows what they have.
It's
And
a
maybe
level
that's the
playing field
internet
now.
too. Everything is Googled, every price, everybody knows. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, and that
Well,
and
the
that's
retail
gonna happen
stores
with
know that
CDs.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
CDs, they're flying under the radar, and you can get great
But I
CDs for
think
$2.
that people are starting to realize that, though, because I have seen a few people talk about how it is going up, and it's harder
Absolutely.
to find them. Like the thrifts, even like the thrift stores are selling them for $2 instead of $1 or whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I have run into a couple where they're selling CDs for like $7 and $9, but you know,
Yeah.
that was a couple places, and it's like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
but I think it is starting to change because I think people are picking up on it. And it's
Yeah.
also
Well,
it's
people are
about
going
what
back
you
to
want.
buying
It's about
CDs.
what you want to collect, I guess, in a sense. To me, I mean, I loved CDs when I collected them. I loved them. There's some that I had that I really wish I hadn't gotten rid of, but I can't change that. And then I'm like, I've even recently, because in 2002, The Cure did the Join the Dot set, which was 4 CDs, and it was like all their B-sides and a few remixes and some unreleased stuff like that. And I would love to see a vinyl release of that. I would love to see a vinyl release of that, but I got rid of all my CDs. I had every freaking Cure, like when they did the remasters and did the double discs with all the extra stuff. Like I had all that stuff. I probably had like 150 Cure CDs alone.
Yeah.
And I got rid of all. I have one of my cassette singles that I had in high school. That's all I have left from my original Cure collection because I wanted it all to be on vinyl. Again, some of it I kind of wish I'd kept, but again, the moving it and the like, I filled one box with that. I have one box that has cassette tapes and CDs in it. And prior to moving here, I did have 3 boxes full of CDs and like 2 boxes of cassettes, and I combined that into one. I got rid of everything else because it was like, I just can't. I'm not listening to it. I'm not,
I'm so sentimental. I can't get rid of, and I
It's
got rid of.
hard. It was really hard to.
Richard
There was
was
a
saying.
lot. Yeah, there was a lot of sentimental stuff that I got rid of, but it was just like I needed to. I was.
Yeah.
It was like Richard was saying. I got rid of a lot of my records and classic albums with the CD era, and took them to a record store and traded them in for credit to get CDs. And I wish I had those back. And I have spent the last 10 years or so getting them back.
Yeah.
You know, buying them again. And that's why people are like, "Why don't you get rid of your CDs?" It's like, no, I'm not making that mistake again. Why? So 10 years from now, I can go around trying to get all the CDs back again, like I did with. I'm not getting rid of anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, I just maybe some of them I wish I liked The Cure. I also had The Beautiful South. I had every CD. I had every CD single. And same thing
Singles.
Yeah, I had the CD singles.
I have a lot of CD
they all have
singles.
B-sides
I don't
and
think I
all
ever
things
bought a
that aren't on the
CD.
albums
That's
and
singles.
stuff. Oh, they're singles. Cause singles, yeah.
I have a lot of CD singles from mostly from the 90s, like La Bouche and
Be
that
my
whole thing, like
lover, wanna be
Terry's
my
like
lover.
Terry's cassettes or CD singles of all the dance remixes of 92, 93, 94 to like 99.
But some of those, there was a
Boosh is definitely
series
in there.
of dance remixes. I mean, I liked getting those on CDs because I liked the way the mixes would just smoothly transition from one to the other. And yeah, right, yeah. That I have that one, and I have that one. Yes, but I have found with
Remember
some of my
seeing that.
favorite CD mixes that I don't know what the deal was, but they don't play anymore. And it's not my CD player because you know
You have
they
to take
won't
a
play in any
Q-tip and
CD.
stick it in there and clean it with a little rubbing.
Well,
alcohol.
yeah,
Are you
that's
talking
what I
about?
do need to
Are
do.
you
That
talking
my
about
CD player.
CDRs?
I have a 5 CD changer, and
Right.
I've had it since 1996 probably. And I do need the drawer does not always go in
But you said that
correctly.
CDs don't play anymore. Are you talking about CDRs? Are you talking about
No,
store-bought?
these are CDs that that for whatever reason they were poorly made and they stopped playing. And
But you're talking about
fortunately,
store-bought CDs, not CDRs.
they're they're CDs. They're not
That
CDRs.
you bought like this.
Yeah.
Not a burned CD.
No,
Not a
they're
burned
not a
CD.
burned CD. I have
Because
burned
burn ones a lot of
CDs
times
that I
don't
could
close
still
properly,
play.
and then they stop working.
Yeah.
Maybe they're bronzed. Sometimes that happens with some CDs, but
My vinyl always.
So what do you do when they're bronze? Because there's a couple of them that do. They have kind of like a sepia tone to them now.
yeah, those are bronzed. That means that you got digital rot.
Oh, sweet.
So what do you think somebody like me who has 3,000 records, no more space? This room is like, I probably have another 6 months before I need to go into another room with music. Do I think about CDs or do I just not do it? And
Well,
just be
CDs
like,
take up room too, as Craig mentioned.
exactly.
They're
I mean,
they're
they don't take
bigger, but
as much.
smaller. But I mean, they're also not
So
as.
you need to
thin
buy
as
a
records.
house with a basement where you can put all that stuff in.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No, I did a whole video on how you can, put your records in different places and make more. Like you get a thing that goes in the middle of the room, and you make a,
And then you can't
like a
walk
record
in the
store
room
has.
anymore.
No, I like my room to be comfortable too. I'm also very like aesthetically, like I like my listening space. I like well, can't see it, but I got records like sticking out in the middle of the room too.
Right.
But it's like,
I
where
would
am
just
I gonna
get rid of the jazz records.
You could do that. You could do that.
Oh,
And if I
God.
got rid of them, I'd make a shitload of fucking money.
You would.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would.
I'm not doing that.
Well,
Yeah,
I have less room than you guys do because, I mean, I got this shelf
do.
here. I got shelves over here. And then
We've
I got
all been
shelves
in your
over there.
apartment. You are,
And
We
I'm out
have,
of room,
yeah.
man.
you are tight. Yep.
And I only have half as many records as you guys do.
I live in a house.
Yes. Bragging, bragging, bragging.
So how many CDs do you have, Robert? Do you know?
Just those.
Just those.
That CD record.
Yeah, but do you know the count of them?
I did, but I don't remember what it's thousands, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I
didn't
counted before and I
Yeah.
don't remember. But I mean, you can see. Can you see all of them? Yeah, you can see all of them.
see a lot of them.
Yeah, they're all there. I mean, you have a lot.
But
Is that all your records that you have on the?
No, there's a whole other shelf here
Oh, okay.
that's not ever seen.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not huge into 90s music. And I don't know.
Well, if you are going to get back into CDs, my advice would be, get a good CD player with a high quality DAC, a digital audio converter. You want to get a CD player that has a digital output, not just RCAs. And of course, with that, you want a receiver with a digital audio input. That's going to make a difference. There are people who are like, oh, records sound so much better than CDs. Well, what did you listen to your CD on? A GPX boombox with the little fake bass boost button and the fake equalizer with the 5 little things on it? I mean, no, you get a real CD player, high quality DAC, digital out, get a receiver with digital in.
I have a Harman Kardon CD player, but it's from
that's probably a pretty good one. Yeah.
Oh, but it's from like 19. I mean, it's my CD player from the 90s. I've had it since then.
I mean, if it's Harman Kardon,
still pretty good.
That's like a Marantz.
So. I mean,
the issue with Marantz ones, I don't know if the Harman Kardon ones are like this, but the Marantz ones are great sound quality, but they're very picky. And so if the CD has a scuff on it, it's more likely to skip on something like that. I have a Sony that has the digital outputs, a high quality digital audio converter, and it will play anything. I mean, CDs that look like they've been run over with a car, it will play them. It's amazing. But the only problem is fast forwarding and rewinding is like really weird because it's made to play DVDs too. So
this sounds like stylus issues and pressing issues.
Yeah, but these don't wear out though. Styluses wear out. Styluses need to be aligned. Styluses, all that. This is just you buy it. You make sure you got to buy a good one. You're done. It's it.
No, you still have to clean. Sometimes the optics inside need to be cleaned.
I've never had to clean mine.
And in my case, because it's a 5 CD changer, I need to get the drawer realigned again. But
you don't want a CD
JVC
changer. You just want the one.
Yeah, I don't think you want a CD.
You don't want a CD changer.
No, because there are times when I will put 3 or 4 CDs in. And I'll be playing them because then I can go do other things while I'm listening to music, and I don't have to go back, and I'll play CDs that I know I have on vinyl, but I'll play them just for that reason because I'm cooking my dinner or whatever, and I don't want to have to keep getting up and changing the record.
That's another thing about CDs. You play them, you fall asleep, the CD stops. You don't wake up 4 hours later and a fucking worn out needle.
See, I have a designated music listening room. So, like, if I'm cooking dinner, honestly, I'm usually streaming on a. No, I'm not streaming. It's on my phone. Yeah, I'm streaming. I just have a little speaker I put in the kitchen. I don't put on a CD. I would never put on a CD because I have and this is just the way I listen to music. I have a separate music room. Am I
the only one who doesn't listen to music in their music room? Like I have a music room, but the stereo is in the living room.
Yeah, this is my music room. I have a chair and an ottoman, and this is where
this is my music room.
Well, this is my living /
workspace
music room. Yeah,
everything happens in this room, and
everything. Yeah, see, Richard's place is exactly like that. So you can put on a record or a CD and then go in the kitchen and hear it still. Yeah. If I put on a CD in this room, I can't hear it in the kitchen.
See, I come in here to get the music and then I go in the other room to play it.
Listen to it.
But the kitchen is open there. I can go in the kitchen. I can go, whatever and hear the.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, being in a house too, you can play it as loud as you want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where with me, if I want to listen to something loud, then I have to do the headphones because of neighbors.
And I can't do headphones because I'm deaf in one ear. But my neighbors aren't. They can hear every damn thing. I never hear my neighbors upstairs until I play music. Anytime I put music on, all of a sudden I can hear them walking around. It's like right now, totally silent up there. But I guarantee if I put music on, I'll be able to hear them. Like I don't know if they stomp more.
Maybe they're stomping.
Or they're playing the music too loud.
My neighbors will thank me because I only listen to the best music, and they're like, "We are so lucky to have you as a neighbor."
And you bring in their newspaper. Do you bring it up to their door?
With a cup of coffee.
Right. Instead of a cup of sugar.
So do we regret anything?
I don't know if I regret getting rid of those records and trading them in for CDs because I was able to get most or all of them back, and I wouldn't have had the CDs in the 90s had I not done that. So I probably really don't regret that as much as I used to when I first started getting back into records. So everything else I've kept. I mean,
yeah.
Regret is, I don't know if regret is the right word. Like I said, maybe like the Cure and the Beautiful South stuff. Maybe I wish I had held on to that.
You miss it. Maybe you miss it, but yeah.
Well,
I
part of it, like with my,
getting rid of.
the thing is what I did is like, oh, I'm just gonna put it all on my hard drive, and then I'll just save it that way. Well, yeah, the hard drive that had all that stuff on it, it got corroded, and now I can't access any of it. So
I think
especially
a lot
with like,
did that.
yeah, especially with a lot of like Beautiful South stuff. I had a ton of CD singles that the songs were only available, the B-sides and stuff were only available on those. You can't stream them. You can't. Yeah. So it's like when I lost that hard drive, I lost all of those songs. So
I did.
I don't know why I keep giving thumbs up.
I had a bunch of DVDs that were extremely rare movies, but I had so many DVDs and whatever, and dumbass me, because I mean I could have kept those DVDs, but this was before we had a shed, and we were really getting, for space. And I ripped all those DVDs, and I thought, I'll get around to coming up with a safety hard drive, and I'll get another hard drive eventually and make copies. So I'll have duplicates. I'll get around to that. Never got around to it. And the whole hard drive got corrupted, and it's like a physical corruption. So it's not like just something that can be fixed, because it's actually something happened in the hard drive. And this is one of those old hard drives that you had to plug in.
Was it a terabyte?
Maybe.
Yeah, I had a big, huge one that just recently happened to me. It was why I got rid of a lot of my DVDs. I had hundreds and hundreds of movies.
These were rare movies that weren't even.
I had a lot of those too.
That I had bought on places like Sell.com, where somebody had recorded them off of cable or something, and you couldn't get them anywhere else. It was like
that's a 5 terabyte right there.
This is all my Zappa bootlegs are on this, and I can still access
so many movies, and I can't watch them anywhere. They're not available.
Yeah,
they're just not. Great old obscure horror movies and TV movies from the 70s and whatever that are just absolutely unavailable. Even if I wanted to buy the DVD, it's not there. It's not available.
I have.
It's not like, oh, I lost my copy of Denzel Washington's Training Day. I mean, you can fucking get that for 99 cents anywhere. Oh, I lost my Superman movie. Gives a fuck.
Yeah. I have like a 3 terabyte hard drive of movies, just hundreds and hundreds of movies. And it's in my closet here. And I used to have like a Mac Mini that I hooked up to my TV.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I could actually hook that up to my new TV.
You can. So,
I don't know why not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just filled with average movies. It's but it's all like, oh, I might have to do that.
Yeah.
But everything's available streaming.
Not everything.
No. And not
some
only
of the stuff that's available now
things actually available on streaming. If you're talking about movies, especially from the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s, a lot of it is not available on streaming. And if it is, you've got to have 8 different streaming services to see 8 different movies.
Yes.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
Even with the Criterion Collection channel, they cycle off movies all the time, and they're gone. They're not going to come back.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing the Disney Classics model, that where you take stuff off, you put it back on. Now it's on this service. Now they learn from Disney. You don't keep stuff on. You take it off. You put it over on this. You take it off here. You put it on here. You take it off for 5 years. And it's out of
out of print.
Huh.
That's how you get people to subscribe to 9 different services.
Because I got this
Hulu,
beautiful
Netflix,
new
and
TV.
HBO
It's
Max,
got all
and
kinds of
yeah,
ports and shit in the back.
Yes, you can do it on that.
yeah, you
But
should be able to.
I can't figure out how to.
'Cause that's
get
what
my
I was going to do. I was just going to be cool and have a hard drive
I'll
with the
come over and help you.
boop, boop, boop,
Could
and the
you-
movie
could
would
you
start
come
playing.
over?
And yeah, that
Yeah,
thing
I'll
would
come
boop,
over and
boop,
help you.
what?
Well,
I
right,
should
with
check-
all the, I mean, I've got other stuff on this external drive, too, that, I mean, before Napster got shut down, I never used Napster.
There's
But
our
there were
I
a lot
did.
of other
reference of
services.
the video.
Yeah,
There-
Bear
there-
Share. I'm going to get
There-
Bear
there
Share.
was a
with
lot of
one.
other
Bear
services
Share.
that
I
were-
forgot about that.
There were a lot they were a lot more reliable. And
LimeWire.
Yeah.
No, not
And
LimeWire. I
they-
want the Bear Share.
Yeah,
I
Bear
used-
Share was
I
better
used
than
the
LimeWire.
Something
but-
about that one that just speaks to me. Bear Share.
Yeah, Livewire was definitely my go-to.
Yeah,
But yeah,
LimeWire.
I was a
did that
download
too,
fanatic
but-
for quite a while.
Oh
I was
man,
too.
I would load them up. We had
Napster
a
was the best, though.
we had a T1 line before they became popular at work, and
Mm.
we started doing it in shifts. Like, okay, it's my hour to fucking load it up with my songs, and then the next DJ would come in on their shift and be like, "Whoop, your stuff's all out. Here's mine." I
Yeah.
mean, we were just like, that's how I was, and then you burn it on CD, and you've got the CD of the album. I went from downloading songs to downloading full albums, and yeah.
No,
I
I've
was
got a lot of
downloading
burned
so much shit.
CDs for album, but eventually, when I find those albums on vinyl, I will get, I will buy the vinyl, or if it's one that's not available or it's priced way beyond. It's amazing how some vinyl records will go for hundreds of dollars, and then the CD issue you can get it for $10, which is still kind of expensive, but hey,
that's what I was
$10
saying
is a hell of
earlier.
a lot better than 200.
90s stuff, especially. You go try to find an Erasure album for $2. It's not going to happen, but you can find Erasure CDs for $2.
Yes, you can.
You go try to find a Morrissey album for $2. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
I was downloading so much shit, and I illegal downloading, but I was also buying CDs and records and stuff. So I didn't feel that horrible at the time.
I never felt
I was
horrible when I
downloading so
downloaded.
much shit. I got a cease and desist letter in the mail. I opened up my mail one day, and it's from some law firm or something. Your IP address has been located and doing this, blah 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 blah. And I was like, whoop. I just went and deleted everything.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the
smart,
angry
'cause
lawyer.
they were
letter.
really going after people for a while, and they were
Oh, yeah.
serious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They weren't just threatening.
No?
They were following through.
Yeah.
All right, so what have we learned here? Get a good CD player with
I-
a high quality DAC.
Yeah.
And a digital output. I think that's what we
Buy a bigger house.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Buy records if you want records. Buy CDs if you want CDs.
Buy cassette tapes
Buy
if you want
both when
cassette
you,
tapes.
all it comes
when
down
you
to.
need to.
Yeah,
That's
buy
Buy
whatever
8
you want.
tracks if you want 8 tracks.
All right,
Yeah.
we are the Vinyl Community Gunkles.
All
What a
that you
fun
love.
discussion.
It was.
We're right back where we started. I'm Robert
but-
Fitton.
All right, and it's coming on. We're gonna get right back where it's time
Do
from.
you remember that day when you first came my way?
Richard, you will never hear me sing on this channel.
I know. I want to hear you sing.
It's not going to happen ever.
I mean, not
We are-
everybody has the voice of an angel like myself and Robert Fitton.
And Robert, yeah.
Lucifer was an angel too. I'm Robert Fitton, along with
Right. Oh, Richard at Calvin Wazoo, who sings occasionally.
Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
Mike at Hub Tunes.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again soon.
I
That's
hope so.
good.